My 32M, GF, 27F, is acting strange after a business trip. What should I do? We have been together for a year and a half and our relationship has been good up to this point. She was out for 5 days for a business trip to a conference. Without disclosing much, we both work in the same field but not a lot of overlap. The conference would debut a project she had been working on. I did not go, because of my own work, but she went with her coworkers on the project and everyone seemed to have a great time. I picked her up from the airport 2 nights ago, and when I went in for a hug and kiss she didn't return it and just went to grab her luggage. The whole ride home, she was basically catatonic. She didn't want to talk much, and would either ignore me, give a delayed, short answer, or be very short with me. The only thing I could get when I asked what's wrong was, "I'm tired." When we got home, I reheated some food for her while she was in the shower. After the shower, she took her bowl but dropped it on the way to the table and immediately started crying. I tried to comfort her and give her mine, but she angrily said she wasn't hungry and was going to bed and went to our bedroom, where she ripped the blankets and her pillow off of the bed, brought them into her office to the bed she uses for naps and closed the door. She hasn't really left her office since. We are now on day 2, but I do see she is coming out of her office for food. I've sent texts asking to talk but she hasn't responded. The door is locked, but if I knock she will say she's okay but napping. She won't talk to me and I don't really know what's wrong. Obviously, something major happened. I checked social media but everyone was smiling online. I spoke to my friend who went with her, he worked with her on the project, and asked how it all went that first night. He felt the trip went well and everyone had a good time. I inquired more about GF after, and he did tell me there was a part of the trip about halfway through where she started crying over lunch, but he didn't have any other details. I don't really think she is cheating, but I also don't know what could cause this. Any help? Comment. We cannot guess at this. You are going to have to talk with her. She may be sick, she may be pregnant, she may have been assaulted, she may have cheated, she may have learned something about you while she was gone that has made her very angry. There are more things that have happened but those are my top 5. Comment. 100% agree with this, please post an update when you learn more. OP, I'm pretty certain she isn't pregnant because it's unlikely she can be. She doesn't seem like the cheating type, and my friend was with her every day and nothing seemed to stick out. I don't know if she learned something or not, but I am kind of scared that maybe she is sick or hurt in some way. I'll try again to reach her after work, but she is refusing to talk right now. Comment. Your friend may have been the one who assaulted her. Comment. Yeah, this happened to me. It was my best friend's fiancé at an academic conference, just drugged me, didn't actually get to rape me. I was honestly a mess for years after the fallout. Comment. We can't possibly know what happened. Something happened. You deserve an answer. Let her know that you need to know what is going on and that you will support her in any way you can. OP, I might call another friend of hers and ask. Comment. If something bad did happen to her, reaching out to her coworkers and letting them know that something is wrong might not be the best thing to do. Stick to someone close to her rather than those who were at the conference. Comment. Stop calling other people, if she was assaulted you are spreading her private info all over the place. Update, 4 days later. Thank you to everyone who showed concern regarding my GF. I stopped responding to the comments because they were overwhelming and it wasn't helpful for me to read that stuff when I was at work and couldn't do anything about it. I've been pretty slammed with work, and the demands for updates in the comments and inbox have also been overwhelming. With so many people assuming an assault and asking for details, it felt voyeuristic, where people wanted a window into my GF's suffering. That disturbed both of us. Ultimately, I decided to update because there was no cheating or assault at all, despite almost everyone thinking it was definitely one of the 2 cases. I'll give my GF the name Lily, our friend who was on the trip, Jake, and her close friend and roommate on the trip, Jane, for ease. I called Jane, despite people saying no, and asked about the trip. Jane remarked that Lily was very tired and wouldn't talk much outside of the days on the business trip, and that was consistent from day 1. I asked if she felt like something happened, she said no. I asked if she felt like Jake might have done something, she said absolutely not. When I came back from work, I saw signs Lily was more functional, as she had done some cleaning. I took the chance to ask if she wanted food, she agreed. We ate a meal, and I broached the subject. The missing piece to the puzzle is that Lily has ADHD. This was an important fact, but one I forget as she manages it well. I tend to think of what are symptoms more as cute GF quirks, because a lot of general ADHD behaviors she mitigates, like forgetfulness. What happened on the trip is that to save money, she shared a room with Jane, which she has done on short bursts but never for such a long trip. As I mentioned, it was a business trip, so although Lily had a lot of fun, she was working both physically and socially for up to 20 hours at a time. She had nowhere to go and reset at the end of this. She had enough emotional gas to come home, but she had some flight delay issues at a very busy airport, and by the time she came home, she couldn't make it. She also felt like my asking of her trip in the car was like an interrogation because of her mental state. Her ADHD has never come like this because she manages it well and hasn't been in this environment in a long time. We decided that from now on, she should have her hotel room by herself, or with me, regardless of the cost. I also agreed to not ask any questions when I pick her up from her flight, and she will instead tell me what she wants. If not, I will ask another day. We came up with some other plans so that I know how she is when she comes home. Saturday night we went to an event. She had fun, but crashed immediately at home. It was more on the scale I am used to after a 3-day trip. She has cleared her schedule for the next week to recuperate. Edit. Everyone is stuck on Lily's travel expenses. I have copied and pasted the comment, for those unable to search on their own. This better explains Lily's job. Think about when you go to a convention, where someone is selling items at a table. These individuals have to often buy their booth and pay for their hotel to travel to the convention. I use the term business trip because for Lily, Jake, and Jane, this is a business trip. They are there on business, not vacation. Additionally, many people are convinced this is an excuse to cover consistent bad behavior. It has never happened before. She was stuck in the most crowded airport in the country for 7 hours longer than she was supposed to be. She hadn't slept for 5 days, and hadn't eaten in a day. This led her to a point where she felt sick, and by the time she came home it was 1:30 a.m. and she was exhausted and hungry. This was an exceptionally bad day for her, which resulted in her behavior. It was not out of malice or entitlement, and it is not how she would act in any other situation. Everyone deserves a little grace now and then, which is something that Redditors do not seem to understand. For those convinced that she is lying, and still must be assaulted or have cheated, and those who rooted for her to be raped, those who are just being rude because it's the internet, or for those who choose to waste their comments pretending to be Lily's doctor, I hope you find a better hobby in your life. I hope you can find the resources to deal with your immaturity. I am done with this account. The problem is solved, and the update is there. If nothing else, I have learned that Reddit is a terrible place to receive any kind of advice. Comment. I really appreciate the update because your initial story was concerning. I was among the people who suspected assault, cheating, or some other trauma. The explanation does make sense to me. I am not diagnosed with ADHD, probably would be if I were younger, but I relate to needing private downtime. I have one big question though, why is Lily responsible for paying for her hotel room on a business trip? Comment. She might have had a per diem, in which case any more you don't spend you keep. Comment. He can answer that for Lily, but where I work the company would require staff to share rooms when 2 men or 2 women attended our convention or traveled together. I more than once paid for my own room to have privacy. This rule changed in the last couple of years once it was recognized that this policy fell into potential sexual harassment even with same-gender staff. Comment. OP, I recommend she text you from wherever saying what's going on. That way she is communicating but doesn't require talking, and you can pick her up and let her be while knowing she's fine. OP, we usually do this, but due to issues in the airport she was well past that point by the time it occurred to her. Reddit does not understand, but sometimes people have bad days. She had a very bad day, and wasn't thinking straight. It happens to everyone. Comment. Oh holy crap, do I feel this. I'm ADHD too and was basically manic at the Denver airport during my layover back home to the East Coast after my vacation to Hawaii. Same toward the end of my 2-week vacation in Italy. I built in 0 downtime and was almost in tears on my last full day. I hated the dorms when I was in college because there was nowhere to go and have a meltdown by yourself if you were stressed. Once my gas tank hits empty, I am done. OP, she avoids Denver airport at all costs, but this was unavoidable. Her flight was delayed and she was stuck there for about 7 hours.